Hey guys, it is the second week of the South African Preparation series, or the kickoff games, or whatever you want to call it. We still don't really know what it's supposed to be called, but this time around we have strange kickoff times. It is on Tuesday and Wednesday. This is the official kickoff times as I have it from the teams' Twitter accounts, because SuperSport and SuperBru, they are messing me up a little bit on when the games are actually taking place. So make sure, if you do play SuperBru, to watch this two games, to pick those two games first. You can also join the pools down in the description below. The first game, it is the Griquas versus the Stormers that we're talking about. The Griquas, they lost by 25 points last week to the Sharks. They were in it for most of the game until that yellow card came to Ungere, that penalty try as well, and then everything kind of fell flat there. The Stormers 1 point loss with an inexperienced team to a very experienced Cheetahs team. Pretty good takeaways for them there. This week around, it's in Kimberley. Quite hot there as well, quite windy, so hopefully that does give us some running rugby in this one. Let's go look at the teams, but before we do that, remember to hit the subscribe button if you do like the channel and want to see more of these videos. Let's see the two squads. In the front rows, Mox McCauley, he's been very good at scrum time for the Griquas. Last week again, proving what he can do for their team. Alandre van Rooyen at number 2, and then Jenkinson at number 3. For the Stormers, their props did just as well last week. Ali Vermaak and Neetlin Fushia especially did really well against the Cheetahs. Who expected that against the veteran Skalk Ferreira? So, big game from him. I can't wait to see how number 3 Fushia versus McCauley goes up against each other at scrum time. Skara and Tubeni, more of a veteran in the Stormer side, goes up against Van Rooyen in this one. We'll see how they compare against each other. Ntubeni will probably favour himself in this one. Then Zito versus Mayhazen in the number 4 jerseys. Lindsay versus Van Sail. Lindsay and Van Sail, the two more experienced guys in the teams. Van Sail continuing as the captain for the Stormers. Then at number 6, Carl Els comes in for the Griquas. He comes in for Gideon van der Merwe. Very, very big guy for them to leave out in this game. But they did say that he's left out because they just want to give him some rest time for a change, because he's been playing every game and he plays it very, very hard. So hopefully that doesn't really cost the Griquas a lot. But I do think they do lose a little bit of edge in their front pack when he is not playing. Tiernison and Jason Dixon, they didn't do too badly for the Stormers. Willemse at number 7, and then Korma at number 8 versus Augustus, who's still starting every game for the Stormers. A lot of questions are being asked if he is going to move on from the Stormers to take up that lucrative deal in Europe. Isn't it time to maybe start another number 8 to kind of get more experience for those guys? Who knows? Maybe this is kind of a tactic to give him a lot of game time so that he does choose to stay at the end of the day. Then Godlin Masimla at number 9. Nothing spectacular from him last week. Ungere at number 9 as well for the Griquas. He had a great game in my opinion for the Griquas, except for that slap down which cost a yellow card and a penalty try. At the end of the day, that was not the best decision making from him in his debut for the side as well. So hopefully for him, he does improve. Then George Whitehead, a little bit of a veteran for the Griquas. He's captain of the side. He has played for the Stormers as well before, versus the youngster Kate Voliter. What a breath of fresh air that guy was last week with his boot. He just kicked over almost everything, just missing most of the tough angles from pretty far away. But he really kept the Stormers side in the game with those penalties that they got from scrum time and then slotting it over. George Whitehead, he does more or less the same thing for the Griquas. So we'll see how things go this week around. Andre Swartz, he was impressive with ball in hand last week versus Cornel Smith. Quite a quiet game last week. So Ruan Nel, he is still finding his feet versus a guy that's been loaned from the Stormers to the Griquas. I think it's the second time he's been loaned from the Stormers to the Griquas. Hasnar at number 13. I think his deal went through literally last weekend. So it's a big game for him because he hasn't been picked much from the Stormers coaching. So he's going to want to prove what he can do in this game. I think it's a big game for him. He played really well when he was still at the Griquas. Then at number 14, Orense comes in. Njezula, he comes in as well for the Stormers. I don't know too much about him, so we'll see how things go in this one. Keeter, still a very dangerous man, very quick to break through the line as well. Very quiet last week, but still always have to look out for him. Lyland's quiet game for him as well. Then at number 15, very interesting to see Sergil Peterson there. That's after a couple of injuries to the Stormers, with Tristan Lades also being injured now. Sergil Peterson coming in at number 15. Can't remember that I've ever seen him play there, so we'll see how he goes there with Banda up against him, who is a specialist, number 15, moving from the Kings earlier last year to the Griquas, so he gets a bit of a start for them as well. Going to the two benches, not too many changes for the Griquas. The guy to always look out for them is Bierwinkel, who comes on and scrums just as well as Nkoli. Then Ivan Kutsia, he is also a guy to look out for. Ashland Davids, Tinus de Beer, just as good when it comes to kicking off of the tee. And then Kasinde finds himself on the bench. The Stormers, they opted to change quite a few guys on their bench. Blueser comes in and Mazibuko, so two new props. I have to say the propping partnership that came off of the bench last week for the Stormers didn't do too well, so maybe this does bode well for them. Then Evan Ruas, he gets his first game for the Stormers after moving from the Sharks to the Stormers quite recently, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, when Sia Kulisi basically moved, he moved the other way around. Chris Schroeder, he's at number 22, and then Edwil van der Merwe is at 23. Guys, if I have to make my prediction here, I think the Stormers, this young team, they did pretty well last week against the experienced Cheetah side. The Griquas, they did just as well against the experienced Sharks side, but when that bench kind of came on, things kind of fell flat for the Griquas, whereas the Stormers, they still kept in it. That it actually kind of gave them a bit more energy. They did leak a couple of more penalties though, so that's probably something they did work on. The Griquas do love winning at home against the Stormers, but for me, the Stormers to win this one by 3 points. I think it's going to be a close one down to Kate Voliter's boot. Let me know your prediction down in the comments below. Also, check out these videos next to me. Hit the subscribe button if you do like the channel, and then I'll see you for the next one. Cheers.